Going on, everyone? Welcome to Rabid Mining's Mining Garage, and today we're taking a look at this guy right here. Now, I don't know if I should be worried about that symbol or happy about it. So matches. We're going to take a look at an ASIC miner that's profitable and one you probably never heard of. So we're going to take a look at this. Now, the matches part, I don't know if this is going to burn down my house or if this is going to burn up my wallet, because it is one of the only profitable miners that's decently profitable on the market right now. So let's take a look at this miner and see what we got cooking. All right, so here is the front of it, and we can see one large fan here. This is actually 110 millimeters. I know that's a weird oddball number, but I measured it. It's a 110 millimeter fan. I'll just try to show you for yourself. All right, so let's kind of show you the fan here, coming in and looking at 100 millimeters at the edge there, and coming to here, we're at about, so you can see 210, so 110 because we are starting at 100, but here we have, if it was 120 millimeters, it'd be way too big. So we are about 110 millimeters on that fan. All right, so I looked around this thing. I don't see Wi-Fi anywhere, but we do have our green and red lights. We have our TF flash, reset, IP, and then our Ethereum port for our internet. No, that's not Ethereum. That's your Ethernet, however you want to put it. But yeah, no Wi-Fi, hardwired only by the looks of things. So that's pretty much where we're sitting. So I'm going to plug this thing in and see what things are looking like. Before I do forget, I do want to point out that this miner was actually sent to me from ASL Mining, and that's where you can purchase this miner if you're looking for it for yourself. Links will be down in the description. All right, so I went ahead, plugged in our internet and our power. You can see the 3 cables there going to the back. The fan is running. It's pretty silent, has a slight low pitch hum, but something like a PC would do, as it's not a super high RPM fan. So we're gonna have to see if we have any type of dashboard or anything to get in with this unit. And just to get an idea of what the back looks like, you can see here with those 3 cables plugged in, and the airflow does go through the front and out the back here where the power cables are. All right, so I do see the ini box here on the network, but I can't seem to connect to it through the IP. So I have to do some troubleshooting and see what the issue may possibly be. All right, guys, so just coming into ASL Miner, I wanted to point out one thing here. It actually says additional info, Wi-Fi included. So I still got to figure out, how to get into the dashboard or set this thing up, but it is stating it is Wi-Fi included. So we'll see what happens, and, we'll just go from there. All right, guys, so we are making progress. Here is a dashboard. Now, it turns out I had to put in the IP, plus I use a port of 2 and then 4 6s. So that's how we would get into this. Now I got to figure out the password. I haven't got to that yet. Root doesn't seem to work. Admin doesn't seem to work. So now I got to try to use a whole bunch of different things to see how I can get into this. All right, guys, so I figured out the password, and it was INI box. So that's awesome. We got that going here. Now, here's the interesting thing. It looks like it's having our local stratum is the default. So it's not mining to, a default address or anything. The pool that we are going to be utilizing is this one right here. This is Yates pool. Now, in the GitHub, I got to see if I can find it. So right here, we can see mining mainnet. There's a whole bunch of instructions to set things up for starting mining on Windows, GPU, CPU, things like that. Obviously, we're on an ASIC mining now, so it's most likely not worth mining on a GPU or CPU, but they have solo mining here, which means I'm not going to set this up now. If you want a video on it and you plan on getting these miners or something, maybe I'll do that. But solo mining setup, so you can run your own node, get everything going, and then solo mine. And that's probably where this is coming in, running to your own local type of, stratum. So probably solo mining to your own node. I'm not doing that. I'm going to be pool mining. So now let's move in and kind of set this up. We can see by default, we got 3,000 RPM on the fan here. We're getting errors, power on, whatnot, because I don't have anything set up. We're not connecting nothing because I have no node or anything set up. So now I'm going to find out my parameters. We got to start with a wallet. I do not have a wallet yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm coming into MEXC here. I will have a link to MEXC if you want to trade in a type of cryptos or anything, but there is no minimum deposit amount. It's zero. So I'm going to use that. Remember, it's never recommended to mine to any exchange, but I'm going to mine to this and then probably sell daily or something. We'll see how things go here, but I'm going to mine to the exchange in this case. And remember, guys, I'm urging you guys not to do this, but a lot of you guys are going to do this anyway. So it is listed here on MEXC as well as xt.com, I believe. We can actually have a look at that later on. But right now, I am going to simply copy this wallet address to mine it to. Once I finally figure out where their actual wallet is, I will, update that when I update a video on this miner in particular. It's looking like it's an Ethereum based address, so maybe you can MetaMask it somehow or something. I don't know, but I'm just going to use this exchange right here. So coming back into the miner, we're going to come into mining configuration, and I'm just going to be getting rid of all this worker stuff here. I don't know if I need passwords. It's all 123, 123. So we're going to get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. I'm just going to put in a single worker. There's my address followed by INI box in capital letters. See how that goes. And now I need the pool stratum. So I'm going to come into the pool here, and I just got to find it right here. And then we got to find all our pool parameters to connect to. So it looks like a bunch of Ohio mining servers. That's the only backup. I'm going to run through here and see if I can find where everything is. Remember, first time doing this when it comes to this coin. I've never even heard of this coin before. All right, so top right corner from looking at stuff, there's a main pool A, a main pool B, and these stratums change based on whatever you pick. And here we have difficulties. So I guess, like, obviously these are low difficulties. We're on an A6, so I'm going to go with 1.5. Either one of these should probably work, and these are much too low. This is probably CPU and GPU mining ports right here, just judging by the difficulty here. So I'm just going to go with this guy right here. I'm going to right click, copy that. And port, we're going to have to remember 31556. So 31556. I'm just going to come into here, put that in there, and then port 31556. So that should work. I'm going to get rid of these ones. I don't know if we need all three or not. In this case, I'm just going to go password X, and we'll see if this works. If not, then I might have to put in pool 2 and pool 3, which is just going to be backup stratums for the same pool. There is only the one pool. So I'm going to save and apply that, and it says illegal. So it looks like we probably have to do this for everything. So I'm just going to copy here and put it in for everything. So there. I'm going to take this, copy, put it in for here, there, and there, and then we're going to put an X, then we're going to put an X, we're going to save and apply. So yeah, it looks like we do got to populate all three. Now it says, please wait for CG miner to restart. It's doing its things. Now, as for network and stuff, do we actually have Wi-Fi? So protocol, static, nope, I don't see anything for Wi-Fi there. System, I don't see anything for Wi-Fi. And then miner configuration, advanced settings. Yeah. So, we have frequencies here. So we could, it's cranked up all the way. So it looks like we could probably run it more efficiently, but we're just going to leave it as is. So yeah, I don't see any type of Wi-Fi settings here, at least for me. So, that puts that to an end. So now we're just going to wait a little bit, see if we get a connection and see what things are looking like. So I have an epic, you guys probably seen this, but I have an epic failure. You can see main cannot connect the pool. If I come into miner configuration, we can see I have stratum plus TCP, stratum plus TCP. I put it in there twice because I just pasted that in. So we're just going to get rid of those and update it again. So you guys may have been yelling at me in the comments or something earlier. Hopefully this fixes it now. So I'm going to save and configure, apply here, miner status. Let's see what it says now. Cannot connect to pool. So now we're going to wait and see if we actually get a pool connection. All right, guys. So just coming into the pool here, it does say 2 online workers. Now it looks like anytime you change your name and stuff, it adds it as a worker. I went to capitals. I went to low levels, lowercase name, because I wasn't sure why it wasn't starting up. If I actually come back into the miner, it is here now. It took a while for this to kick in, but this stuff was all blank here. The average real-time hash rate and the lapse, that was all blank, and I didn't think this thing was working, but then it did kick in at the pool with that stuff blank. But now we can see at the miner there it's working. We don't have any type of earnings really yet because we just started here. But yeah, so I'm on this name right now. We can see our shares are coming up and everything. Data, we have one online. We're gaining shares. I was at 8, now I'm at 164. So everything is currently working right now. We're currently only at a real-time hash rate of 118, average daily hash rate of 118, because again, it has to ramp up to its full hash rate. But let's take a look at what it's currently looking like in terms of profitability. All right, so I do believe we are mining away now. So before we take a look at any numbers, let's take a look at our power consumption. Flip this over, and we're seeing about 512 watts at the wall. Keep in mind, that's also including the server power supply. Obviously, we have to add that in because that's the only way we are powering this thing at the present moment. So about 512 watts here. Let's take a look at our hash rate and stuff. So I just turned it on. So we're not going to have any profitability and stuff, but we'll look at our profitability based on like ASIC miner value and stuff. And then 24 hours time, we'll see how much coins we actually mined. So currently mining now doesn't seem to have it listed anywhere. So we're going to have to actually jump into ASIC miner value here. And here we can see it's just under a Z15 Pro, and people were purchasing Z15 Pros due to the FOMO for $4,000 to $9,000, which is insane because this is less than both of those prices here and making currently about the same. And we have no crazy FOMO drive coming into this. Obviously, if everyone starts buying these miners and a price drops from selling or whatever else, then we're going to see that profitability drop. But right now, it looks like this was released in July, so it's been a few months since these things have been out. But again, no one's really heard of these miners. So let me know in the comments, have you heard about this miner before? If so, let me know where and all that other good stuff. But right now, it's looking like, what is that? Pinecone matches. So I didn't know they were Pinecone. I knew matches inbox or INI box here, but I didn't know they were Pinecone matches. So that's interesting. That's, you know, I don't know, named after a pinecone. But anyway, guys, so it's supposed to be about 850 mega hash. As we saw, it was 512 watts at the wall with that server power supply. Depending on a power supply that you use, you could bring that down a little bit, depending on efficiency levels and where you actually run it, if you're at peak efficiency or not. And then again, you know, power price, this is 12-cent power and it's looking like $27 a day right now. So that's actually pretty good considering you start dropping down a little bit, profits drop extremely fast. Let's just take a look. I shut down that what was that miner called there? You know, the one I replaced this one with, that Tari box. So let's look at the XT box here and see what that's at. That's only at $1.48. So, you know, turning off $1.48 a day and turning on, I guess, to $27 a day seems like a much better option right now. I'm not 100% sure what Initverse or INI is about. If you're unfamiliar about the algo, every time I look at the algorithm of this coin, I think it says Verus hash, but it's actually like verse hash. So it's pretty close to Verus hash, but it's actually called verse hash. So keep that in mind. It is not Verus hash. It is verse hash. But here we can see about Initverse. Initverse is dedicated to building the next generation Web3 business infrastructure led by Initverse Labs, with core products including INI Chain, a base layer public blockchain featuring the world's first TFH EVM, a privacy network combining fully homomorphic encryption with EVM, INI SaaS, a development platform integrating AI tools to significantly lower the barrier for dApp creation, INI Cloud, a decentralized cloud service using the INI for settlement to provide vast computing resources for SaaS and INI cloud mining. A lot of people have a big issue with cloud mining, so we'll see how this goes. A cloud mining platform covering all proof of work coin types, leveraging INI Chain's robust privacy, security, and efficiency. Initverse empowers the developer community, driving a new era of Web3 based powered by SaaS. And over here, December 4th, they did post something here. It looks like 82% bullish, 18% bearish on this coin. So that's interesting there. If you know, depending how much you believe in these type of charts, this is at Coin Market Cap. but Innoverse did post there. Over the past few years, proof of stake POS has become the default choice for almost all new public blockchains, with over 80% of new chains adopting the POS consensus mechanism. However, with this growth, controversy has arisen in decentralization being swayed by capital. We talk about this all the time. It's the people with the most amount of money buy the biggest bags, and they run the chain because of that. So that makes coins and chains that are POS highly centralized because of it. Is cybersecurity being reshaped by financialization? For sure. Look at Ethereum. Is governance increasing concentrated in the hands of a few whales? For sure. Now that POS has become an industrial trend, we hope to revisit a long-standing question. Why is proof of work, POW, still irreplaceable? So they're standing for proof of work. So a lot of us miners might be able to get behind this project. As we know, other projects that did stand for proof of work, like Flux, moved over to proof of stake. And that sucks. On December 5th at 12 UTC, we will discuss this issue in a forum. We look forward to returning to the underline, so they're just saying what they have coming up. So it looks like they are 100% for proof of work. Now, the fact that we got some ASICs here. Now, I don't know if GPUs and CPUs are still able to compete. Obviously, it depends on how many ASICs are actually online. And again, here are all the markets. So I will have a link to here, but we got MEXC, we got XT.com, we got Hotcoin, and we got CoinStore is where you can buy and sell. As for volumes, it's looking like MEXC has about 548,000. Past 24 hours, we got 662,000 at XT, 202 at that Hotcoin, and CoinStore is saying 166,000. So there is a decent amount of volume happening just between these two exchanges alone. That's over $1.2 million or 1.1 or so. So that's pretty decent when it comes to volume for this coin. All right, guys, so that pretty much does wrap up this video. If there's anything else you would like to know about this miner, let me know down in the comment section, as this was also us learning how to get this miner running and everything, that I can get a more clearer guide together in the future if that's something you would like, because you plan on maybe getting one of these. Remember, link down in the description if you want one of these. Now, this is probably the most profitable home miner, as it's small, quiet, doesn't use too much power, about 506 to 510 watts. It's been running for a while. Let's take a new look at the power here, though. We can see, yeah, 506 watts now. It is a little bit cooler today, so that is why. As things warm up, things use more power and stuff and become less efficient. So that could be why we dropped down to 506 there. Also, you know, unlike Zcash, this is a nice quiet miner, and Zcash plans on moving to proof of stake sometime in the future here, so that will mean miners no longer work. So we'll see what happens on that, and this is also cheaper than Zcash miners. But the only thing we're not familiar about is the coin INI. What is it? How long will it last? And, you know, how many people will actually purchase these miners to start dropping the profitability? But for now, guys, this is the most profitable home miner on the market. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section. I will see you on the next one. Rabid out.